I got some of my light back, so we're going to take another shot here of the aspen grove with a little bit better light on it. And we're again panning to the left. We'll be panning up the driveway to where the truck is sitting. Yeah, you can see the trees are looking pretty good. This area is right up from the RV, going up toward the nook. And the amount of brush and wood and stuff we took out of here, hard to remember now. The grasses are growing well. The remaining aspen trees are in pretty good shape. And you can still hear the squirrels chittering in the morning and the evening when you head over to the pine over here on the right hand side of the So again, young aspen are starting to grow up. There's a few flowers blooming here, and we're doing real well. I should have mentioned that some of the trees we originally planted along the driveway are, well, I don't know if they're thriving, they're surviving, and I'll try to get a couple pictures of those as well. As mentioned, here are a couple of the pine trees that we planted, I think within the first year or so after we had purchased the lot. And these are probably the best of all the ones we planted, and the rest of them are not doing quite as well, but they are surviving. I've moved up to Birdhouse Ridge, and we'll take a few pictures of the RV in the parking area as it appears this evening. The RV and storage shed are over here to the left. You can see the circle has quite a number of young aspen with it, and there are 3 pine trees growing in that center now as well. There's the RV coming into view, and then the storage shed in the evening light. This is Birdhouse Ridge. It looks substantially different than when we first bought the place, and then we cleaned this up. The first chipping that we did with a chipper, we spread the chips on this platform, this path I should say, and if you look down you can see that the chips have grayed in pretty well with the surrounding areas, and it's hard to believe that's about 7 years ago that we did this work up here. But again, the trees appear to be in pretty good shape. There are a few young pine as well as young aspen, and the trail is doing quite well. There are still 1 or 2 of Pam's birdhouses hanging up here. And there's one of Pam's birdhouses now, hanging up in this old pine. A view of Birdhouse Ridge heading back uphill. The trees are doing pretty well. There are 1 or 2 that could be cut out. They're either died or in the process of dying. But by and large, it's looking pretty good. This will be my last shot for tonight. I'm losing too much light. I'm standing on the driveway, looking up to the area we used to call Homestead Acre. And the evening light is sidelighting some of the trees up here, so I just thought I would take a little pan to the right and get some pictures of the side lit trees. And again, we cleared this area of just tons, it seemed, of brush, dead trees, and it just looks so much better over the years. It is Sunday, August 6th, 2023. We're doing some videotaping around the lot today, so Pam, who hasn't been here since we moved to Iowa, can see what the lot looks like. We will be moving around, taking videos of different parts of the lot, showing what the views are as of today. Right now we're at the top of the lot, at the top of the driveway, I should say, in front of the storage shed, looking down the driveway. I had brought out the weed whacker this year and done along the edges of the driveway, the center strip, and had to use the loppers to cut out a few young aspen that were trying to grow up in the driveway. I'm going to pan back a little bit now and up, and you can look across South Park. Sorry for the jerkiness. There is a new barn down here that was not here last fall when I was here, so it's kind of in the view now, and not much can be done about it, I guess. There's the barn itself. From the top of Birdhouse Ridge, you can see Vinegar Ridge across South Park. We'll pan a little bit over here to the left to get kind of a scenic view. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of the mountains across the way. It's a little hazy today. I'm trying to zoom in here a little bit. You can see a ridge of snow that is still on the peaks across the way. On the mountains there, on the other side of Vinegar Ridge. Here is a photo of pine limbs, branches, other stuff that I would eventually cut up for firewood for the camp stove, or campfire I should say, and that pile's been growing a little bigger over the years as I've picked up more bits and pieces from around the lot. Over here we have the remains of that big pine tree that blew over in the wind a few years ago. I used the tractor last fall to drag them up here closer to my other wood piles. This wood pile is what remains after the firefighter came and got a load of wood again last year. He drove up in a big truck with a dump trailer on it with his son, and we loaded his trailer full. I thought he'd be able to take everything, but this is what was left over. Here we are up on Homestead Acre. which is farther up on the lot. And I'll do a pan around here just to get a view from this angle. There are a couple of small trees that should be cut out that have died, but actually not too many. So here we go with a scrolling over to the left, and we'll do almost a full circle. And that will do it from this view. We are up on Pavilion Point. Pam specifically asked for a view from up here, so I will pan across to my left across South Park, and you'll see mountains and haze off in the distance. But this is what it looks like from up here these days. This is basically the same angle of view that I get when I sit in my recliner in the front door of the storage shed. You can see the white barn up there that I mentioned earlier, and then the mountain peaks in the background. Just down from Pavilion Point, I'm standing at the top of the Nook, and this is an area that Pam and I worked very hard to clear out, and it has paid off, I think, in the way that it looks today. Now there are one or two trees up here that need to be cut out that have died because it's been several years since we worked up here. And over to my right I have a couple piles of brush that I didn't haul out to a brush pile yet. But the Nook is nice and green and has grass growing under it, and like the rest of the lot is looking pretty good at this time in the summer. Here's the formation I call Squirrel Rock, as it reminds me vaguely of a sitting squirrel with its tail up in the air. I'm not going any farther back up on the lot than this. I will be heading down and getting a little bit more footage, but we're almost at the end. I decided to take a bit of a detour and go to a place that Pam probably has not seen for a number of years. This is going up to the top of Sumner Ridge, and I have piles of wood here that could be cut into firewood, mostly pine, and a few more brush piles. And I've been working on this area the last 2 or 3 years. So here's what it looks like today. Pile in front can be firewood. Farther up the hill we have a brush pile. Over here to my right we have a larger brush pile. I would like to get a chipper back up here somehow and be able to get at all this stuff. And here we are. You can just barely see the top of the RV trailer there, kind of in the center of the picture. We're coming down from Summer Ridge, heading for the top of the aspen grove. This is another area that I've been working on the last few years. Pam hasn't seen it in a while, although she did help spread the chips on the trail that I'm standing on right now. So it's not unknown to her, but it has been vastly cleaned up since the last time she was here. And coming into view, you'll be able to see parts of the trail and the top of the aspen grove, where I'll be there in a few minutes. The top of the aspen grove. I'll be panning over to the left. And you can see the trail we cut through here is turning pretty gray, those chips we put on it. We're inside the aspen grove, heading down toward the neighbor's driveway. But we'll get some footage in here. And when the fall colors turn, this is just a great spot to walk through, or bring the camp chair down and sit just under the shade. There are a number of small pine trees that are trying to grow here. Let's hope they survive. And after all the work we put into clearing this place up, it really is starting to be quite pleasant to be here. And that pretty well wraps up our video tour 2023 of the lot at 179 Sanderling Court, south of Como, Colorado. Thank you.